All right. And we're live. Okay, here we go. Mr. Deadman live. Just what we're doing now for a little bit. See what happens. If you guys like this, let me know in the chat. Yeah, and if you're catching afterwards, let me know in the comment section. Definitely help out this channel by pressing the like button, sharing, and subscribing. Because I guarantee you this stream is going to be not ad friendly. Okay, because we talk about some wild stuff tonight. Definitely want to talk about Trump blaming video games, for the for the shootings in but Detroit. Oh, I'm sorry, Dayton, Ohio. There's a shooting every day in Detroit. No one seems to care. And the shooting in El Paso. That's like video games, really? I mean, Trump, the 90s called, they want their scapegoat back. At that, this is sad. But it really did happen. It really did. Let me play a clip. Here we go.
Right. As an example, the monster in the Parkland High School in Florida had many red flags against him, and yet nobody took decisive action. Nobody did anything. Why not? Second, we must stop the glorification of violence in our society. This includes the gruesome and grisly video games that are now commonplace.
There it is. There it is. We have to stop the gruesome and grisly like a bear. Grizzly like a bear video games. What? Are you fucking kidding me? Video games. Like, where does this even come from? I mean, the idea that there's any sort of correlation between video games and violence is just absurd. There's not even a slimmer of it. Not even a little bit. Because, you know, maybe I need to think about my past. Remember those days, I don't know about you, but when we're playing Twisted Metal for 8 hours straight, I just got my dad's machine gun, duct taped it to my dad's car, and drove around, started shooting up the place. You know, Doom. Just about everyone my age has played Doom once in their life, right? But I don't recall the mass massacre in the 1990s of just a bunch of people running around with shotguns and chainsaws. You know, it's crazy. There's not even a slight correlation. Game sales are going up. Violent crime is actually going down. Huh. That's weird, right? I mean, when you have titles like GTA 5 that sell 11.21 million in 24 hours, and that's a game about beating up hookers, stealing cars, and doing all sorts of stuff, shooting people in the street and stuff. Do we see a sudden explosion of that? No. So it's just crazy to me. Yeah, you're right, Chris. Parkland shooter had the FBI call him 17 times. He was interviewed by the FBI. And he had guns. I don't recall exactly. I think that they were limited because due to gun rights and what they could do. But certain states, certain areas have passed laws. I forget what they call them, like red flag laws, where if you have something, or if you show a sign that you might go crazy, they could take your gun away and stuff like that. Now, I'm sure that could be challenged, based on the grounds of constitutional rights, right? But I guess the theory is that those that are completely insane probably wouldn't have the funds or resources to do that. I don't know. This scapegoat is so freaking lazy, right? So freaking lazy. And going back to the correlation thing, okay? Not even the slightest thing. In order for there to be a correlation, there would have to be a relation at all, some sort of relation between one variable and the other, with some sort of percentage of error, right? That's how that works. For example, here's the correlation, right? If I eat Taco Bell, I know I'm going to have the shits. That's going to happen. It's guaranteed. If I go out there and start streaking nude, I know I'm going to get arrested. Guaranteed. Right? These are direct cause and effect. These are direct, like, there is no denying that there's not a correlation to that. I mean, that's what it is, right? But with video game sales and violent crime in the U.S., there is not even a little bit. Now, I've been in the, I graduated with a bachelor's in psych, okay? So, and I was going for a master's, and in the course of doing that, I had to go through a bunch of different studies and familiarize myself with certain things. These studies are interesting. There are studies out there where they will try to show that that violent video games may lead to violent thought, aggressive thought. And what they do with that, and these studies are so freaking lame the way they're constructed. They're heavily biased in a way. It's almost like it's guiding towards the result. They'll expose one group to violent video games, one group, the control group, to, like, I guess, innocent games like Tetris or something. And then they'll have like a word choice. And they, of course, have a word choice before and then a word choice after the exposure to the game. And what they claim that they find is that after the game, like, people are choosing more, I guess, aggressive words, more violent words. Okay. And those studies kind of showed that. I'll give them that. But that doesn't equal to real life violence. It just doesn't. And I'll tell you why it doesn't. It has to do with laws. It has to do with the fact that just because you see it in a video game doesn't make it go, oh yeah, that's going to happen. Video games, what you see, do not encourage behavior. If so, Minecraft is very popular, even still to this day. You don't see a bunch of kids running around trying to punch trees. I mean, they might try just playing around, knowing that they're playing around, right? But I mean, they're not literally trying to punch trees. And the one that does is an example. So it's an example for those that are watching, that are curious, Let me change something with mic here popping real fast. Okay, that's better. Hi. Hey, what's going on, CD? How's it going? Yeah, just talking about what Trump was talking about. Talking about what Trump was talking about. This idea that violent video games lead to violence in real life. I think CD was watching me once when I was playing a Wario Land 4. We talk about Pokemon. A lot of people play Pokemon, heavily popular, right? So popular that it even has had a movie, right? And several movies, in a real life movie at that. But you don't see a bunch of people trying to, like, put animals into balls and, like, you don't see a bunch of, like, millennials, like, trying to, like, orchestrate, like, cockfights. Not dick fights, but, like, hen fights, cockfights, rooster fights, which would be the closest thing to Pokemon. You have a bunch of, what's the chicken Pokemon that, I don't remember. I don't remember what it's called. I don't remember. It's something with a P. I don't know. I see. There are studies that say otherwise. There's a difference between shooting literal data and the human brain. A Pidgey, yeah, a Pidgey. And what's interesting too is that there's a study that I want to talk about here. Because I'm trying to be organized. I try to have show notes here. There's a study called "Violent Video Games in Real World Violence: Rhetoric versus Data," and in this study, it's done by Marquet PM, Marquet CN. I'm actually referencing something here. Look at that. Even in its abstract, though, which will give you a quick summation of what's going on here, they do talk about how there were previous or prior laboratory correlational studies that have to find a link between violent video games and minor or benign forms of aggressive behaviors, such as, and I'm telling you, the way they frame this, it's so silly, but by aggressive behaviors, there's some studies that have been done where, once again, they'll expose people to one group to violent video games, one group to just regular game, I guess like Tetris or whatever, and they will see which group, like, okay, they'll have like a shock thing where the people can administer like a light little shock to someone. Okay, like barely. I mean, it's within the ground, within the. It has to be within safety, right? You can't just shock someone, electrocute someone. Not anymore, not these days. So it's a little static shock. And what they found, at least what they claimed they found, was that after exposure to video games, the one group was a little bit more, I guess, liberal with the shocks. But the other thing they're not considering is that you guys are telling them to shock them. You guys literally set up an experiment where it's okay to shock. Okay? Like in that world, I guess so. Like, if everyone because that's different from real life. In real life, there are laws. People don't just go around shooting people unless they deliberately want to break those laws, unless they don't give a fuck anymore about those laws, or, I mean, they reach a boiling point to where they just snap and they'll go crazy. And the people that do that, they already have no regard for life, right? The people who go postals or shooting up everything, they have no regard for life. They don't care. Anyway, but the study further goes on to say that they did, a 4-time series analysts investigated the associations among violent crime, homicides, and aggravated assaults, and video game sales, internet keyword searches for violent video game guides, and release dates of popular violent video games, both annually and monthly. Contrary to the claims that violent video games are linked to aggressive assaults and homicides, no evidence was found to suggest that this medium was positively related to real-world violence in the United States. Unexpectedly, many of the results were suggestive of a decrease in violent crime in response to violent video games. So look at that. I mean, that's one of the studies. And we could easily find information that backs that up. Like, all you have to do is just take a look at just the cells alone. I mean, let's take a look at this graph real fast. I'll take this down. I think we had enough of Trump. This graph here is violent crime. I know you can barely see it. The violent crime rate and video game sales. Total violent crime offenses and then computer video game sales. So you have a line going down, and of course everything's going up. An even better one is the one, I like this one, where it shows the releases in crime. Crime's real high up here. 1970s, 1980s. 1980s was horrible time period. And then you have, Doom came out 1993, 96, and then wow, everything's just going down. Look at that. Interesting. I mean, like I joked around before in the beginning of the stream, if there was any sort of correlation at all, then you would see it, right? If, like, I mean, how many people have played Doom? I mean, Doom came out, what, in 1993, 94? I don't know exactly. But just about everyone's played that game, right? But you did not have a sharp increase or any sort of increase of chainsaw assaults or people running around with shotguns trying to look for, like, imps or just shooting pigs or whatever, mutated pigs. That didn't happen. I mean, Mortal Kombat. I mean, the kids weren't giving each other, like, fatalities in the street. I mean, now, I'll be honest here. After playing some Mortal Kombat, yeah, we did try to do some of the moves. Play around in the backyard, do backyard wrestling and stuff like that. But see, that goes to show that it's within the realm of possibility, right? The reason why people didn't go around with a chainsaw and a shotgun is because that's not realistic. People aren't going to do that. Just like how, let's say with Fortnite. Fortnite's very popular, right? Just about everyone's playing that. You don't see a bunch of people running around in, like, their tights or whatever, using a pickaxe to take out of just about everything. And build forts around people and shoot them with funky guns and whatever. Yeah, you don't see that because it's insane. It's impossible. That stuff isn't going to happen. It's not practical. I mean, and it's so to blame games like Call of Duty on a shooter. Call of Duty is a military shooter. The sort of person that would be inspired by Call of Duty would be the sort of nut job that already has access to an arsenal and is already planning some sort of. He's not right in the head, either by mental illness or the other reason why people are acting insane and doing these things. Ideology. I mean, because what we're talking about here, the reason why this topic is coming up again is because of what? The Dayton shooting, then the El Paso shooting, horrible tragedies, not making any jokes on that. But it's those two people, those two instances. There's no pill that would solve that. And you're not taking guns away. Not in the United States, not where it's embedded in the Constitution. And even if hypothetically you did make it illegal, the United States is built and founded by and established from protest and riots, right? riots against the Brits. I mean, we're a nation of hot-blooded people. We don't give up rights easily. No, it would be horrible. But even if you did hypothetically, we're swimming in an ocean of guns. There's more guns than people here. We manufacture a lot of them here, don't we? We sell them here. Or the companies that sell them are here. Yeah. Good luck. It's crazy. I'm sorry, I'm paying attention to the chat, guys. They would have used a truck if they didn't have a gun. You're right. And you know what? That's what's happening. In Europe, they don't have guns, right? So they're using knives and trucks. And in, what was it, Sweden? They're using a lot of grenades. Grenade attacks are going up through the roof. Because it's whatever you have access to. If there's a will, there's a way. And right now, there's a very toxic will. A lot of people are pissed off about everything and anything. And when I talk about ideology, I'm not pointing fingers. I don't want to do that on the show. I don't want to point fingers to the right or the left. To be a little revealing, I am conservative leaning at times, but it's the First versus Second Amendment. One invested in the government. It's First versus Second Amendment, and one has more money invested in the government. Yeah, as far as like games. Video games would be First Amendment, right? I would think. And that's happened with comic books. It reminds me of comic books because comic books used to be blamed for violence. There was a time where comic books were blamed for the violence and for the debauchery, for the deterioration of the youth. It's crazy. There's always a scapegoat. They look for the scapegoat because you know what I think though? I think and I hate to be black-pilled on this. I think that the actual problem is not something we could easily solve. Because pick your party, pick your tie, blue tie, red side, blue side. No one's talking to really compromise. I mean, sometimes you hear someone try to suggest a compromise. Like, surprise, surprise, Trump, as I hate to say this, did try to push a gun deal, the gun control deal. Was background checks on this recent thing that he's talking about. It's like, okay, but still, that they're not working together. I find that to be interesting because I'm like, Trump is saying, okay, let's control guns. Let's put more gun control. But the thing is, like I said earlier, like these people who are going to do this, they already have access to the guns. Like, what are you going to do? Go around and take all the guns away? It sounds hyperbolic, but here in the U.S., there would be a second civil war for that to happen. It sounds crazy. I mean, it's not just Southern rednecks. It's anyone who's a gun-loving nut. You think they're just gonna give them away? I don't know, man. I'm not hopeful about that. I'm not hopeful. I don't want to be like a hippie, a tree-hugging hippie here, but here I'm gonna get positive, okay? Get wishful thinking here. If we could, hypothetically, I don't know, stop being so divisive all the time, and stop being so divisive, and that goes from Trump, that goes for the right, that goes for the left. I mean, left has AOC, Ocasio-Cortez. She's not doing very well, right? You have parties on both sides that they double down. They double down and they say things that entice people, that get people angry, and it's not helping. You know, if we could find a way to get through that and work together, that'd be the win. It is escalating. It is escalating. Man. Yeah, Bo, in for a fan. Sorry, you're right. It's escalating and it's horrible. And I wish there was a way we could stop it. I wish there was a way we could work on a positive message. And I said this before, I would love for this show, for this channel to be more positive. I would. I just don't know what it would take. Because to reach out to those that profit off of, that are motivated to just spin twisted narratives, to exaggerate issues, to rile people up, to pretty much get people to the point to where they do not want to work with each other, right? Like those people, I hate to say it, but they're not going to want to listen to me. They're not going to want to listen to someone who's like, hey, maybe y'all should work together, right? Oh man. But, of course, maybe this will die down. But, you know, press X to doubt on that, huh? I don't know. But violent video games are not to blame at all. Not in the slightest. I think we can all agree on that. You know, when Desert Storm came out, when the game Desert Storm came out, I don't recall a surge of people just hijacking planes and going to Kuwait. You know, that didn't happen. When Call of Duty came out, I don't recall a surge of people wanting to join the military. Did that happen? Did it ever happen? It's crazy. Mortal Kombat 11, one of the most violent Mortal Kombats that's come out, right? The gore is through the roof. You don't see people, of course the game didn't sell en masse for a number of reasons, but you don't see people trying to rip people's rib cages out or punch their face off. We all need to sit down and play some Mario. I agree, man. I agree. Play some, not just Mario. Play some Kirby. We're beyond Mario at this point. We need to play something that's not even going to aggravate you. A game that pretty much plays itself. Kirby. Okay? Play some of that. And now there's any Kirby. I'm talking like Kirby Dreamland 3, whatever. I played that once with my son. It was crazy. It was the first time I played it. Was like a few months ago. Actually, I think earlier this year when I did the Bull Ball Challenge. Long story. Oh, man. This topic. They had army recruiters at the mall when Call of Duty 2 came out. You know what? I believe that. I believe that 100% because the military, they do play around with video games. The military actually did give... They let their... I guess they let people in the military play Doom as a training simulator. They do that. Now, whether or not like aiming with the mouse or controller has any correlation to actually aiming down the sights of a gun, I mean, what is that? If someone has that data because the military would have that, like they're tracking that, then that'd be great. I would love to comb through that and look through that data, but good luck on that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think anybody is questioning that. It's just absurd. It's, what I'm reminded though here, because you have Trump just shitting on video games. This reminds me when a certain YouTube shitlord, Sargon of Akkad, and various people who know who he is, they know who he is. If not, then it's a long story. But he wanted to kickstart Gamergate 2.0. He wanted to do Gamergate again with the idea, with the plan to get Trump to somehow tweet out in support of Gamergate. Well, guess what, Sargon? Here you go. It just happened, but against everything you hoped and wished for. It's just, maybe I find that funny because I pay attention to a lot of certain people on YouTube for fun, for entertainment. I find that stuff amusing. Mindset, I guess. Yeah. Now, another thing I want to talk about here, it kind of goes into this a little bit. It's a thing I combed through. Did I comb through all my stuff here? About violent video games? Let's see. Oh, there's a few things. Is it here? Oh, okay. I mean, I don't think I really have to go over this, but criminal victimization, in 2013. And this is coming from the Bureau of Justice Statistics. In 2014, that they reported that the estimates of rates of levels of crime victimization in the United States, they pretty much stayed the same. They didn't go up, didn't really go down. But around this time, in 2013, 2014, you had a very significant game that broke records. That is probably one of not the most violent, but definitely the most egregious for, as like, if it was a crime. GTA 5, right? All you have to do to any of these busybodies, any of these politicians, just point to GTA 5, point to how much it sold in the rate of violent crime, be like, what correlation? And what you'll get here is you'll get people on, you know what? Let's play a game. I like playing games. You want to play a game? Let me pull up my Twitter real fast. Let's play a game I like to call, I don't really have a name for it, just, let's look up with this hashtag, right? Let's just see right now. Let's take a look. What do we get if we look at video games are to blame? Because that's what's trending right now. You get both. Are not, or R2. They're both kind of trending. I wonder if video games are to blame is trending more. I wonder if we will find we're gonna find some people who are funny about this. But there might be a chance that we'll find some people that are actually defending it. Okay. I don't know. Let's take a look, right? We're just going into it. Let's see. I know I've seen some before. I know I've seen some people actually defend this idea. And you'll see it too. You've probably seen it before as well. And when they do, it comes from a place, like, I get it. People want to blame something. They want to blame something because these are horrible things that are happening and they want it to stop. They want it to stop. I get where it's coming from, but it's baseless, Okay, I know it's kind of small. Ah, man. Is it coming through right? It's kind of small there, huh? All right, let me fix it. Well, let's see what we have here. Anyways, right off from the bat, you have a bunch of people. Let's see, you have Matthew Kick. Of course, you got people who are joking about this. Video games are to blame for all the car accidents in the world caused by blue, green, red turtle shells. You got people just trolling, making fun of this. Like me prepping to comment for maximum amount of violence. You get people just shitting on it, and rightfully so. A clown world meme, because that's what we're talking about. We are in a clown world, right? That's what this is. Hong Kong. Boomer accused video game of violence. Everyone else, how many times do we need to teach you this lesson, old man? And people were just, rightfully so, putting up the same graph that I actually had loaded up. It was ready to show. It's people are having fun with this. But now I wonder if I can find any. Oh, here's Steven Crowder. And Steven Crowder's definitely okay. The Republicans or conservatives who jumped on hashtag video games are to blame bandwagon are making a grave mistake. We'll remember. That's interesting. That's good. I mean, I don't always agree with what Crowder says. I know a lot of people don't. It is whatever. But he's right here. He's right here that they're jumping on a bandwagon and they're going to regret it. Anyway, no, video games are not to blame. Bad fucking parenting is. Of course, you're going to get people who are blaming everything else. So video games are not to blame, but bad parenting is. Bad parenting is to blame. Everyone's looking for something to blame. Everything's looking for something. Bad parenting is disgusting. Let's see. Let's talk awesome. Hundreds of millions of men, women, children play video games. Hundreds of millions of women and children don't go crazy. Good point. Let's see. Conservatives tend to scapegoat things they dislike when tragedy happens, whether it be video games, homosexuality, atheism, and a mental illness. That's right. That does happen. Yeah. Indie Republican. It's crazy. Yeah. Oh, here's one. Joseph Carl Vetter. I think that introducing a 8-year-old to Modern Warfare or games like it and him playing nonstop would maybe cause issues. Well, to talk about that is if an 8-year-old's playing Call of Duty or Modern Warfare nonstop, what's going to happen is the 8-year-old's going to, he's going to do what an 8-year-old does, and he's going to mimic what he saw. Like he's going to want to like role play maybe with like a dart gun or whatever, or like a Nerf gun. It doesn't mean the 8-year-old is going to just pick up a gun and shoot up a school. Now, hypothetically, in that mindset, of course, my bias here is I played Doom when I was in 4th grade. When I was like 3rd or 4th grade, I was playing Doom, and I didn't bring my dad's shotgun to school. What? That's crazy. And my dad had already taken me on like a hunting trip before, so I was aware of certain things, right? You can be exposed to violent video games or I guess more mature stuff with the right state. It's a combination of things. It's not just one thing. It's not just one thing at all. Do people have? Is there a dog in the fight when it comes to parenting? Oh, absolutely. I could tell you that 100%. I've seen hands-on the results of bad parenting when I worked at a psych facility. Now, not all those kids came from bad parents, but a lot of them did. Maybe not a bad mom or bad dad, maybe not a bad mom and dad, but maybe someone in the family, or maybe it's just a chain of events that happen, some stressors. But man, yeah, it happens. Some people blame single-parent households. Is that the problem? Well, is it? There's a bunch of factors. And it's not just one thing. But what I want to get at here, what I go back to, is that I think we can all agree that violent video games are not the problem here. Not at all. Now, what's going to be interesting is what happens when violent video games get very popular in like VR. That's going to be insane. Now, I hear that this VR games, like there's some studies done with that the human brain does not recognize much of a difference between like a VR and like real life. That would be interesting. I don't know. But still, you would have like, okay, well, people just don't go around just blatantly attacking people and assaulting people unless there's a motive, right? They usually need something to motivate them to do that, whether it be mental illness, like they got insane, whether it be an ideology, whether it be because, like, and to touch on ideology before I finish on this topic here is, on the El Paso shooter, the guy had a manifesto. I read that thing. Okay, in summation, it's batshit nuts. It's very similar to the New Zealand manifesto. The guy, pretty much, it was like a call to arms where he blamed Republicans and Democrats. It's time to take action now. Blah blah blah. Oh my God, invasion of immigrants, all that stuff. And it shows someone who was consumed with hate, who doubled down on this ideology of we have to get rid of all these people by force, whatever. Look, so that's what I'm talking about, ideology. Okay. And same on, let's say, on the left side, which crazy as it is, fate would have it that the Ohio shooter supposedly was more left-leaning, if you will. Crazy, right? It's like, who? I mean, but that doesn't really surprise me, because even the Vegas shooter, he was a Democrat. He was very liberal, very progressive. But if there's an ideology or if there's a reason that pushes them to want to inflict harm on people, they will do that. It's the same reason why it's. I'll even say it's the same reason why it's not all Muslims are like aggressive or killing or whatever. It's not all. It's ideology, but it's like consumed with a certain type where the hatred just festers, right? Right? And they'll use the ideology to give an excuse, to excuse their violent behavior, to inflict harm on people. Okay. And that's something to address that. How do we address that? How do you fix the human flaw that is hate? Because that's what we're talking about, right? How do we play Mario, play Kirby, Antifa? Yeah, that's what I heard, Antifa. That's crazy too, man. Antifa's not helping things. They're not helping things at all. Just stop. Just stop these confrontations. These public confrontations. I mean, just stop it. It doesn't help that in Oregon, they just let this shit go down. I did I say the right place? I don't know. My mind's messed up right now. Think about this stuff. But there's another subject I want to get into. Kind of related to this in a way. It's related to the shootings. All right. Like I said, this stream is going to be not ad friendly when I'm done with this. Okay. So if you want to support me, if you feel obligated, I'm not requiring anyone to, but if you feel inclined, there's a Streamlabs link down on the bottom as you see, streamlabs.com/Mr. Deadman DT. You can feel free to throw a dollar that way. That'll help out as well. Or share, definitely share it, because that means a lot. But that means other people will see it. And while you may not agree with everything I say, that's okay. And our opinions do differ, and we come from different areas, different, thoughts, if you will. Different cultures are really what I'm getting at. That's okay. I think because the message I'm really focus on is that video games are not the problem here, and that if we can encourage to push out a more positive message out there, that'd be great. Thank you. One thing, there's a podcast I like. I want to show a podcast real fast. Geekmen and Masters of the Thunder Nerds. That is a great podcast. Yeah, it's geeky. They talk about geekdom, nerddom, stuff like that. But they're very positive. They don't dwell in the drama that a lot of stuff is happening. I know Star Wars is turning into shit. I know a lot of properties are turning into shit. There's a lot of problems, and I listen to a lot of that stuff too on YouTube. It's nonstop. Everyone's complaining. But when I listen to Geekdom and Master of the Thunder Nerds, it's like it's a break from all that. And honestly, I like that. It's a break away from the negativity, and it helps me out. It helps me out. Helps me stay sane. Okay, but the next topic I want to get into is Maddox. Maddox. If you don't know who Maddox is, this picture will kind of summarize what we're talking about here. Maddox was the former co-host of not co-host. Maddox was the host of what, the biggest problem of the universe or whatever. As co-host was Dick Masterson. Maddox got butthurt, got upset because Dick Masterson banged his ex-girlfriend and is still dating her. Maddox, the same guy who would insult others rapidly, make fun of others without any problem or any regard, right? Got salty, got butthurt, got mad, pissed off to the point to wanting to sue Dick Masterson because they called him a cuck and because he was banging his ex-girlfriend. Well, she's an ex for a reason, right? You don't own her when she's an ex, okay? That's not how it works. Women aren't property. I mean, unless you marry them, technically. Technically, you want to be technical here. But yeah, so the reason I want to talk about this, though, is Maddox. Maddox is using this El Paso shooting in the Dayton, Ohio shooting. He's using this. He's making it about him. It's so wild. It's so wild. Because he's still salty about the lawsuit, which he lost, by the way. I mean, he lost. But let me show you some stuff. What I'm talking about. I'm being all salty about this. We have Maddox blaming. Well, let me show you the tweets here. Let me start with. They're all numbered for a reason. Here, this one. Let's start with this one. I think this is a great one to start with. Hey, Maddox, because after the shooting happened, when people start blaming 8chan, for, I guess, encouraging it or whatever, what have you, Maddox gets on a soapbox and starts talking about how 8chan hosted this rape list. A rape list that, if I recall correctly, I think Maddox made and claimed that it was Dick Masterson's or something. It's so fucked. It really is. But he goes on the soapbox and complains about this rape list on 8chan and how no one did anything about it then, making it about him, right? About his problems. But it's not about you. Like, what are you talking about, Maddox? It's crazy. So you have someone here, Matt, asking, hey, Maddox, could you explain about this rape listing? I mean, it's self-explanatory, but people are doxxed on a list that you put out there, kind of like the ESA leak that happened just recently. And that's right, Maddox put a list of people out there. He put that up. And someone rightfully shuts him down, tries to anyway. In that lawsuit, you try to sue your former co-host for mean internet jokes that were only made because you tried to ruin his comedy career and because he was sleeping with your ex like 3 years. Yeah. But it gets more. More happens. Let's see. All right. Now, as fate would have it, you have Maddox doubling down on this stuff, making it more about him, tagging Reddit, and I can't see this stuff directly. I had to screenshot this from LA-based comedian helping me out here, pretty much, because Maddox blocked me. Might have covered him in a previous video. Covered his book. I did a review. Yeah, Maddox is the lawsuit guy. Maddox is the one who tried to sue Dick Masterson in a lawsuit. Nick Rekieta, if you're familiar with him, he did a great job covering that lawsuit. That's pretty much what shot his channel, got his channel up. And he came in there. He has inside knowledge of what it's like as an attorney. And oh my God, I'm gonna talk about a tweet here where another attorney just shuts him down real fast. But here you have Maddox going, also curious what Reddit thinks. The rape list was linked to Reddit, and I pointed out repeatedly to admins and moderators of the subreddit. A girl I was dating was put on a rape list linked to 8chan from a subreddit. He's complaining about 8chan because 8chan apparently was still up. You know, he's complaining that nothing happened to it. Nothing happened to it. Well, it's not about you, Maddox. Hate to say this. Actually, I don't really care. No one cares. I bet you right now people in this chat probably don't even know who you are. Hell, when I search for hashtag Maddox, I don't even get this Maddox guy anymore. I get Angelina Jolie, her son. I'm getting her child. That Maddox, the real Maddox, the famous Maddox, right? I'm getting that Maddox. I'm not getting the. I was a satirist, an internet satirist, had a popular website back in the day called what was it called? Man, I know the biggest problem in the universe was the podcast. I can't recall. Was it the same name? I can't recall. Yeah, early 2000s. It's crazy. We're talking about old internet history pretty much at this point. Anyway, it doubles down some more. A bunch of losers put a girl I was dating on a rape list on 8chan. One of the shooters in Dayton also maintained a rape list, and 8chan is where these shooters posted their threats. I wonder what Patreon thinks about users on their platform supporting threats like. So this guy just tags everyone because he has a lot of salt. I mean, he has a lot of salt in him about what's been happening. I say I took a better screenshot here. Yeah, here we go. So the other tweets. Hey, Katie Weddle. I saw your reporting on the Dayton shooter, and I saw that he maintained a rape list. Someone put a girl I was dating on a rape list on 8chan, and Patreon has allowed that creator on their platform where he continues to incite hate. And what he's talking about Dick Masterson. He's talking about Dick Masterson without saying his name. I don't think he's legally able to say his name at this point because he lost that lawsuit. I don't think he's able to say his name anymore. So, to rehash here, because I know it's a lot, and I feel like I'm talking to people who have no idea what's going on here, which I understand. So, that's even better. Okay. You have someone who was an internet someone at one point. He was popular because he made fun of people on the internet. He gets butthurt because his co-host made fun of him after he was banging his ex-girlfriend, and was still with his ex-girlfriend, by the way. So he ends up suing him for being called a cuck and things like that. He lost that lawsuit. And this same guy who lost that lawsuit, this Maddox, still butthurt over all these years, and I mean that, super salty, after the Dayton shooting, after the El Paso shooting. These victims, I don't even think are buried yet. I'm sorry. That was bad. I'm just saying these recent events happened, right? And what does Maddox do? He starts tagging people that were covering the Dayton shooting, saying, "Oh, what about me? What about me? What about when 8chan had my rape list? Huh? What about 8chan? What about that, huh? No one did anything about that. And how do you feel that Patreon is still supporting Dick Masterson, huh? Huh?" That's what's happening here. It shows content of character, right? It really does. Let's see. There's more to this, of course. More to it. This is where the one of the attorneys comes in. Benedict Cruz. I believe he's attorney. I don't know exactly sure, but stop going after Pope Hat. Oh, Pope Hat. We'll talk about Pope Hat. Pope Hat is another internet Twitter lawyer who had a spat. Actually, Maddox went after Pope Hat for not covering the Dayton shooting, right? Or at least not talking about how 8chan was still allowed to exist, even though it happened to him. Even though it happened to him. What about him? What about his feelings? What about when it happened to him, huh? Huh. Yeah. They're not even cold yet. Yeah, that's what's happening. You have it right there. I struggle with the name, Infrafan. So basically, he pulled out. Where were you guys when? Yes, that's exactly what he did. That is exactly what he did. And you know what? Before we go over this one, let me find the one with Pope Hat. That'd be great. It'd be great to get some. Here we go. Here's Pope Hat's tweet. He's another internet lawyer. I think he has no clients. He spends all his time tweeting about this stuff all the time. Here's the thing, George, which that's his real name. Here's the thing, George. You don't understand the difference between merits and strategy. You think suing a company because somebody sued or somebody used that company's record equipment to say something you didn't like is strategy. It's actually merits. And what's going on here in this tweet is that this happened. Maddox, when Maddox did his lawsuit, when he's suing everybody, they sued a comedian, Asterios Kokkinos. He sued Asterios Kokkinos and the company he worked at. The PR company he worked at, the PR firm he worked at, because he claimed he used the company's equipment to record, was it Cuck Christmas? Cuck Christmas, where it was a satirical record, obviously making fun of Maddox, but not in name exactly. They were just making fun, right? Keep in mind, Maddox built his entire brand off of making fun of people. It's happening to him. He doesn't like it. That lawsuit cost Asterios Kokkinos' job. He's not employable now. He got fired. He got fired and he's in debt. And a lot of debt. Because he had to defend himself against this lawsuit. It's like... So yeah, he actually did try to sue a company, bringing the man's company into it that employed him. Of course he's going to get fired after that. Maddox was torn, was filled with hate. He just wanted to scorch earth everything and anything he could. And he found an attorney that would make it happen. So when someone like this, Benedict Cruz, comes in and tries to shut him down, actually, stop going after Pope Hat, who rightfully pointed out how frivolous and socially damaging your attorney is, and start going after the guy who actually fucked you like a cheerleader on prom night. Yeah. Maddox responds, I have sympathy towards people who make mistakes in the course of doing their jobs. Do you? What you probably don't know, in case you don't, Maddox also sued Patreon. He sued everybody. He sued everybody he can. And guess what? The little Patreon dude, the little customer service Patreon guy that was involved in the lawsuit, lost his job. So, when Maddox says he has sympathy towards people who make mistakes in the course of doing their jobs, bullshit. I don't have sympathy towards people who support and defend people who incite rape threats. In this thing, this whole rape threat thing, this is an old thing that where the Maddox try to paint Dick Masterson as having this rape list, being like pro-rape or whatever. Not at all. Not at all. He took a soundbite from their own podcast, which, by the way, The biggest problem in the universe was a good podcast in the back of the day. But the thing with that podcast is they would bring in an issue and they would argue both sides of it, pretty much to get the most votes. So you would have situations where one side, usually Dick Masterson, playing devil's advocate, saying things pretty much to win, because that show was a contest. It became a contest for entertainment. That's what people saw it as. Maddox, on the other hand, was trying to treat it seriously, as if it was a serious debate. But that's not what was actually happening. In one of the episodes, if I remember correctly, if I recall, something about, I don't recall the specifics. I just remember them talking about what I think was rape culture. Exactly, rape culture. And I'm paraphrasing here. I believe Dick Masterson. You know what? I bet there's a soundbite of that. But in summation, what he said was, and he wasn't blaming the victim. People are gonna spin this as a victim blaming, but there's truth to this. There is an importance for women to understand that when they put themselves in certain situations, they do make themselves vulnerable to certain things. It just happens. It's a certain thing I would teach my daughter, right? Because I want her to be safe and responsible. I would, if I would tell my daughter, look, if you're gonna have drinks, do not, first off, drink your drink. Don't drink any drink anyone gives you, ever, at all. Ever. And if you're going to go to a party or club and have drinks, go with a friend. Go with 2 friends, okay? And maybe have a dude friend there with you to make sure everything's good, okay? Because because people could take advantage. People will take advantage. And when a lot of people are drunk and inebriated, right? Bad decisions are made all the time. Right? So that's all he was talking about. But Maddox spun that as, Dick Masterson's pro-rape. Because Maddox was pissed off. Because he fucked his ex-girlfriend. And kicked him off the show. And ended the show. And Dick Masterson goes off. Starts his own shows. Closed bottles only. That's right. Closed bottles only. Dick Masterson goes off, starts his own show. The Dick Show, which is doing far better than the, I guess he changed it to the biggest debate, which the biggest debate it ended to. You either die a podcast hero or live long enough to see yourself become a Maddox. That's pretty much it. I mean, in summation, I know a lot of this, there's a lot of dirt to kind of go over, but if you want here's what I like about this. Is why I feel comfortable definitely defending being on Dick's side, Dick Masterson's side on this. If you want the whole goss, the full thing, you can get it. Right from the beginning, when Dick did his show, the first episode I think was talking about what happened, and he just, maybe you could say he was being political about it, but he just called it conflict of interest, creative differences. Creative differences. A creative differences is what you use when you're working with someone. Guys just can't get along, right? It happens. That's what you do. Creative differences. It happens. Okay. He wasn't shitting on him. I mean, he was making fun of how he talks. He was making fun of various things. What does Maddox do? The reason why Dick left is because I kicked him off because he has a rape list. What? Oh, because he's pro-rape. Come on. I mean, someone's being very vindictive in that situation. And of course, all the podcast episodes are available on that. Now I'm shilling that. I'm shilling that podcast, The Dick Show. If you go to thedickshow.com, all of the podcasts, unedited. Unedited. Because what would happen is Maddox would take out a lot of stuff to make himself look a lot better. So you get the full thing, unedited. You can get it all there for you to listen to history. It's interesting. Maybe to me. I don't know. One other thing I want to talk about tonight, kind of closing on this, is it sounds like Maddox is a bit like Ethan Ralph. Yeah, but Ethan Ralph is still kicking, right? From understand. Ethan Ralph, I will say this too. I did talk about, and Maddox lost. He did. Maddox lost. The kill stream is trying to come back. They are getting guests, and and I said this before, if Ethan Ralph cleaned up his act, quit the bars and all drinking, what have you, he could probably, at least host a decent show. He'd done it before. He could do it again. He just has to get through it. We have bad days. I mean, when you stream every single day, you're going to have a bottom moment. It's just going to happen because these shows, like the kill stream, they're not being managed by producers. Like, I don't have a producer, and I stream just about every single day. I'm going to have a bad day. Right? I might say something I might regret, or have an opinion, or have a joke that's too out there or whatever. Probably something in this stream. Who knows? Right? It's just, you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have bad moments. Just get through it. But, oh yeah, one thing I want to talk about. I definitely don't want this to go away. Definitely need to talk about this. Now, I don't know what y'all know about this person. I gotta get her name right. I don't want to. What Jonathan? I mean, Jessica Yaniv. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I got the name right. I think it's Jessica Yaniv. Here we go. It's highlighted right here. Busted. We got her. Alleged predator. That slipped too. Man, I'm just careless today. Alleged predator. She seems. He has a history of asking weird questions related to kids. That's my problem with Jessica Yaniv. If you don't know who this person is, well, used to be someone else. All right. What was the name? Nerd something, right? Trusted nerd, I believe was the YouTube channel. I think was it YouTube, but yeah, but then became Jessica Yaniv, and ever since then has been using the transformation to get attention in the most obvious ways, almost like it's a South Park episode, or an extended, twisted, warped version of Porky's, or a Kevin Smith movie, if you will. I'll just put it that way. I kid you not. There's all sorts of evidence, all sorts of stuff just out there where Jessica Yaniv will blatantly ask on Twitter and Facebook questions like, "Oh, I'm having a light day," as in a period. "Oh, I'm having a light day." I'm having a heavy day, heavy flow day. What do I do? Is there another tampon I should use? What should I use to take care of this? I'm like, people are like, "What are you talking about? What? It makes no sense." Or going on saying, "Oh, I went to the women's locker room in the gym, and I didn't see any naked women. Where are the naked women at?" I'm like, what are you talking about? That right there, to me, was a huge signal. I was like, oh, this guy's full of shit. This guy transitioned so he could see naked chicks. This guy is acting like a pervy dude pretending to be a woman just to see naked chicks. And I said it like that. You might like the way I said it. Okay, I understand. But when someone's using that to be all pervy, to see naked chicks, and then to get involved with kids. Oh my God. It is horrible. It is so horrible. It's so disgusting. But we got her. RSMP searched the home of alleged predator Jessica Yaniv. What is it for? You will not believe. The post-millennial has confirmed speculation that the Walnut Grove home of Jessica Yaniv was raided by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So the mounted police came by I mean, were they really mounted? I mean, what do they use over there? Were they mounted? Do they mean like horse, or do they mean moose? I just want clarification on that. So they came by on mooseback to her house and knock on the front door with suspicion of an illegal possession of a weapon. Because why? Because this genius, this brainiac, decided to brandish and demonstrate the functionality of a taser at one point during a live stream on Blaire White's YouTube channel. You can't have a taser in Canada. You cannot have a taser in Maple Leaf Land. It's not legal. Right? You can have that in America, which honestly, I'm like, why the hell not in Canada, right? I mean, don't you want your women to be able to defend themselves from assailants? Don't you want that? Have some pepper spray. Have a taser. It makes no sense. Like, you bet your ass my daughter's gonna have a taser. She might already have a taser. I can't confirm or deny that. Yaniv also claimed to possess pepper spray, which I believe that is also illegal. I think so. I had a live stream once where I talked to a chick that lives in the UK, and she said that she has a problem with people being like kind of creepy on her. And I was like, can you do anything to defend yourself? She's like, I don't have anything I can do. What do you mean? I was like, don't you have pepper spray and stuff? She's like, no, I don't. I can't have that. It baffled my mind, man. That blew my freaking mind. I just, not even pepper spray. Oh yeah. See this image right here? Yeah, that's gonna cause problems. Oh God. I'm trying to host a stream here. And an image of a swastika just right there. Come on, man. Oh fuck, you can't make this shit up. Anyway, Yaniv's discussion of weapons followed a lengthy racist rant disparaging the East Indian and immigrant communities of British Columbia, asserting we have fucked up people who migrate here who think they can do whatever they want. This is the same woman, by the way, who is suing what, a salon for not wanting to wax her balls. This is the same woman, the same piece of shit, who went around looking for the one place that wouldn't wax her balls. Actually, I don't even know if she found one place that would, honestly, because who would do that? Like, if you were an establishment and your establishment is you wax a female genitalia, and that's what you do, and some dude's there, hey, I'm a woman now, gotta wax my balls. That seems weird. And I would have a hard time. I would have a hard time with any sort of government forcing anyone to have to put their hands on anyone's genitalia. That's weird. That's weird, man. Right? Right? Anyway, reports about the raid initially circulated around or on the former Kiwi forums, with the user and neighbor of Yaniv, WG Kitty, reporting the arrival of police at approximately 9:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The user reported police presence in Yaniv's Walnut Grove residence overnight, August 5th. Okay. Yaniv was reportedly not allowed access to the residence while RCMP conducted the search. I wonder what they found. You think they found stuff on the hard drive? You think they confiscated the electronics? I hope so. I wonder if there's more to this, man. I wonder if we're going to hear more later on. While the RCMP declined to provide a specific name unless charges were laid, they were able to confirm that the post-millennia that a warrant was executed at the Walnut Grove address confirmed to the house Yaniv. So it sounds like there's not even a charge confirmed. Is there not really a charge confirmed? Let's see. Tasers are prohibited for civilian use under Canadian Firearms Act, and increasing scrutiny has been applied to even the police use of electroshock weapons. Well, I can't even read right now. I need to drink more coffee. Following the 2007 death of Polish-Canadian immigrant Robert I can't pronounce that last name. Dikansky, due to a heart attack induced by RSCMP. Yeah. So. Oh wait, whoa, what? Let's look at this paragraph. The Post Millennial has previously reported on disgusting allegations of sexual interference of Yaniv towards girls as young as 14. Some of the now adult victims of these inappropriate behaviors have filed reports with CyberTip. Now, I've said this before, of course, I heavily defend Vic Mignogna. Allegations are just allegations. Now, however, there are messages that have been leaked, some DMs that have been leaked, some screenshots out there. If you want to navigate, come through the Kiwi Farms, be my guest, of Yaniv talking to girls, underage girls, in a very explicit way. In a way that I have not seen. In a way that would trouble most parents, trouble anybody. In a way that would actually be, if you're oh my God, what's going on here? Oh yeah, there's more than just someone's word for this weirdo. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. There's people who actually been victims. Oh my God, and she's a freak show. I mean, this is the same person who's trying to sue a salon because they won't wax her balls. Trying to get some poor little petite Asian lady out of a job, shut it down because they won't wax her balls. That's a mockery right there. That's just hideous. Has Yaniv already been outed by the trans communities? Because that would be something. Why not they just do that? If they just told everyone on Twitter or whatever they use. I mean, probably on Twitter because we're talking about trannies right now. Okay, probably not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. If they were just look, Jessica Yaniv is not one of us. What she's doing, this is crazy. Because she's obviously using this to see naked chicks. She's obviously using this as a way to perp on people. Didn't she? She put a Facebook event hosting a party for kids only. For kids only. No adults allowed. Who does that? And she's gonna be there around all the kids. Who is she? Michael Jackson? And just, I swear, man, there's other images I wanted to put of her on this, but I'm afraid to because I know she likes to. I'm saying she. I'm being nice. I have a tendency to be overly nice at times. I give people the benefit of the doubt, but I'm being nice anyway. There's images I could put up on the stream. And they're just laughable, man. It's flat out South Park material. You have her riding a scooter. She's so large, she has to transport herself via scooter. And she has this smug smile. She has this smug smile that just yeah, you're going to do what I say. Otherwise, I'm going to bully you with my victimhood status. It's come on, man. People who use that are sick. People who use that are bullies, right? Because that's what's happening here. That's good. Blaire White eviscerated Yaniv, but it was respect building on Blaire's part. Yeah. I mean, Blaire White's kind of interesting too. There's stuff about her, right? I'm not really too familiar with all the drama around her, but yeah, maybe one day I can look up all the material, maybe do a stream on her, but I don't know. Talk about that. When did putting a wig make you a victim? I like that. When did putting a wig on make you a victim? Right? Make you, what is it? what is it? What they like to call? What is the keyword? What is the buzzword? Marginalize. Is that the right one? I don't use these terms much, so I'm not very familiar with them. Marginalize as a victim, as someone who's persecuted. I'm sorry, people are not after you, Jessica Yaniv, because you're marginalized or anything like that. It's just because you're full of shit and you're creepy as hell. Come on. See, I didn't care for Blaire until she said to Yaniv what everyone, including other trans people, thought of that monster. Yeah, I used to like her. There was a part when she was sorting out, I guess, certain like conservative figures for being fake or whatever. But it came off like she was, I don't know, man, trying to throw people that helped her build her platform up, help throw them down. And I was kind of like, I don't know, that's kind of weird. I get it. When you work with people, stuff happens. Hell, something even happened with me recently. I don't want to like build up from tearing someone down or throwing someone down into the mud or anything like that. If something happens, I'll address it and be done with it, and that's it. But I'm human. We're all human, right? Sometimes driven by emotions. Sometimes things happen. I'm not perfect. Not gonna pretend to be. Not no fucking Jesus here. But man, I think that was all the topics here tonight, man. Yaniv, any other hot goss on Yaniv? Any other word that's going on? I mean, did they find any child porn on her hard drive there? I mean, did they? Is there even a charge? I don't think there is. It's crazy to me. It's an easy path to take, but you'll be looking over your shoulder for life. Yeah, IBS is a perfect example of that. Ear to the ground on that one. Yeah, I'm familiar with the IBS scene too. I followed all those people, watched them like daily. So yeah, I went through it all. I witnessed the rise of, let's say, Andy Worski, rise and fall of him. And I get we do a show here on this channel called a Freak Show. And yeah, we do talk about people, and I guess in a tabloid way. But the question is whether or not the person is an asshole or a freak. But it's not just people. We had an episode where we talked about Japanese game shows because those are wild, right? But try to have fun about it, not be mean about it. There's a difference there, I would think. But some people don't really see a difference, and I understand there's a line there between that, and you just try to walk that line the best you can. You know? Ralph Coaster. They don't raid unless they're sure. Yeah, you're right. And this is the mounted police, right? Is that what we're talking about? I didn't get a clarification, by the way, if they're mounted on moose or by horse, or if they actually use a car. I mean, this is like Canadian police, so I don't know what they use, but Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Do they use cars? I mean, how do they hot pursuit? How do they chase after people? I gotta look this up. Oh my god. They're on fucking horses. For real. No shit. So, no way. Did they actually stroll up to her house on horseback? Or is that just for play? Is that just for play now and they actually use cars? That's something, man. SK and I are good. And I mean that. like I'll say this. What I said before, and she may be listening, so I'm not going to say her name, but there's a video where I talked about her, another host that was on the show. Let me just put it this way: like there are other people that had run-ins, that had certain encounters. I would say like false hopes. You know, she just had a pattern of always wanting to help. And I think always saying things, have a pattern of saying things to give people hope because she wanted to be liked, wanted to be loved. And I don't think she did it out of malice. I think she did it because I think it's really just insecurities. You know, I think because she wanted to be liked. But the thing is, when you do that, what happens is you end up hurting people in a way you probably didn't expect. Like, it gets kind of messed up. Like, even in the video that I did, I even talk about it now, I still feel kind of weird about the idea of like someone promising or saying they're going to gift you with something and not receiving it. How do I feel about that? I didn't ask for it from the beginning, so I don't really care. I say really, yeah, it's kind of messed up. Like why would you continue to insist that you were when you didn't? But okay. So I don't have any hate towards her. I told her that I think it's, I sent her an email recently. I don't have any hate towards her. I think what she said, I don't think it came from malice. But I think it's just best to not work together. I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people like her. Hell, I liked her. You know? Very helpful. Very helpful. Extremely helpful, actually. I have to do a lot more stuff now. But in a way, I kind of enjoy this because now I actually have to do more stuff, and that means I'm actually going to be aware of everything that's going on. I mean, not that Becky didn't tell me, she did, but I gave her a lot of responsibility. And when I did, I just left it to her. I was like, okay, you'll run like the deep fried horror stuff. You'll run this project. You'll run that. You'll take care of submissions. And I left it to her. Like I solely trusted her with that. I trust her with that. So what that meant was I didn't have to read those submissions. She would read, okay, if they're good, okay, compile that issue. And what I would do is, if you would edit, I'll just format it. Made my life so much easier. But I was less involved, I guess. Now I'll be more involved. So look at that. I guess silver lining. But the other thing is, it does feel like a breakup. That's weird. It's the weirdest thing. I guess it is weird. It is a breakup, and there's always fallout. There's always people taking sides. I don't want it to be that. I do not want any fallout from this. I do not want anyone to feel like they have to take a side or anything. It's just, it happened, and I'm moving forward. That's it. SK and I, we talked about the one thing that would probably tear us apart: money. Like the donations that come in on the Deadman's Tome podcast. We're going to share that 50-50. Great. Cool. And SK and I, oddly, surprise, him being in Seattle, actually kind of agree a lot in certain things, which helps, but it's not necessary, right? I think even on political things, I don't 100% know because we don't really get into politics all that much. But yeah, I think we're going to be okay. I think in a few, after I think next week, might put out for looking for a female co-host, because that definitely helps out the show. I like the dynamic that it gives, so definitely do that. Now, see, now I'm talking about Deadman's Tome podcast stuff on this. Yeah, any other questions that you guys have, let me know, and we'll take care of it now. Other than that, probably just wrap this stream up. Like I said, if you enjoy this, press the like button, share, subscribe if you haven't already. If you wish to donate something, feel free to. It helps out. Of course, I think SK knows the donations come from these ones, these streams, and the gaming streams, the solo ones, they go to me, rightfully so. But the ones for the Deadman Stone podcast, we split. So I'm just saying that. So I'm putting that out there so that everyone knows that we talked about that. So it's all established, so that we're not going to be fighting or bickering or anything like that. You know, sometimes I may expose a little too much, or maybe reveal a little too much, but I want people to know, so that way it's out there. You know, I'll be me. You know, the open book. I know. I just talk too much. Jeez, open book. All right, man. But what I want to do is probably on like the nights where I'm not doing the Deadman Stone podcast, do these streams, Mr. Deadman Live, where I'm talking about things that I probably wouldn't talk about on the Deadman Stone podcast. I'm talking about more internet drama, that sort of stuff. The stuff that's fun, the stuff that I have fun with, like we did here, right? So, looking forward to that. All right, guys. With that said, I'm probably sign off. I'll be streaming tomorrow night. I'm doing a freak show episode. Pick the it took some digging on this guy. I had to look at my note here. Who is it again? Dang it. Jimmy Buffett. Jesus Christ, how did I forget that? Jimmy Buffett. That was a challenge. I was like, we're going to challenge ourselves to find if there's any dirt on Jimmy Buffett. Is Jimmy Buffett a freak? Or is he just an asshole? Or maybe not. So, yeah. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have published my books. Hey. That's cool. I like that. I like hearing that. And I recall hearing that Becky was helping you with that too. Yeah, so talk to me about that after the show, and we can see what we could do. You know, I can help formatting at times. Yeah. Yeah, so look forward to that. Tomorrow will be Jimmy Buffett freak show, so we see if Buffett has a freaky side on him. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Y'all take it easy.